Your blood sugar result came back slightly high. Not diabetes, just above normal. You were told to watch it. Nobody mentioned what it was doing to your reproductive cells. Welcome to CellFresco. We believe something very simple. Every cell has a healing food. Today we are following one signal, through every cell. This series has already introduced you to. Now the story. Insulin is not only a blood sugar hormone. Insulin receptors have been identified at multiple levels of the reproductive chain. In the hypothalamus neurons that start the signal, in theca cells and granulosa cells of the ovaries. In the testes, where Leydig cells and Sertoli cells work, which means insulin is not visiting from outside the system, it is already inside it at every level. In insulin resistance, cells stop responding normally to insulin, so the body produces more of it. Blood sugar may still look close to normal, sometimes for years, while insulin levels climb. Insulin resistance often develops long before type 2 diabetes is diagnosed. That is why a mildly elevated blood sugar result may be only part of the story. That is the part most people are never told. Your blood sugar can look almost fine while insulin is running high, and it is the insulin that these reproductive cells are responding to. One signal. Reaching every level of a chain we spent 3 episodes building. Problem 1. Excess insulin changes what theca cells produce. Theca cells respond to LH from the pituitary cells and produce androgens. Granulosa cells then convert those androgens into estrogen. That conversion depends on balance. Research indicates that elevated insulin stimulates theca cells to increase androgen production independently of the normal LH signal. More androgens arrive than granulosa cells are able to convert. This is a well-documented feature of polycystic ovary syndrome, where insulin resistance is present in a large proportion of cases. The healing food. Cinnamon. Cinnamon has been studied for its potential to support insulin sensitivity, which is the signal theca cells respond to when they increase androgen production. Controlled trials have found that cinnamon can improve insulin sensitivity, and smaller studies in women with polycystic ovary syndrome have reported improvements in menstrual regularity. Study sizes have been small and results are not uniform across trials, so this belongs in the promising category rather than the settled one. It does not replace treatment for a diagnosed condition. Your action: half a teaspoon of cinnamon most days in oats, yogurt, or coffee. Problem 2. Insulin resistance changes the environment around your egg cells. Granulosa cells build the environment that prepares an egg cell for release across roughly 90 days. They carry insulin receptors, and research indicates that in insulin resistance, their normal function is disrupted. The oxidative pressure inside the follicle rises, and that pressure reaches the mitochondria inside the egg cell. So insulin resistance does not only affect hormone levels, it affects the quality of the environment the egg cell matures in. The healing food. Berries. Berries are rich in fiber and polyphenols, which can support a healthier blood glucose response after meals while supplying compounds studied for their effects on the oxidative pressure granulosa cells are under. They are also low in sugar relative to most fruit. Observational research associates diets higher in polyphenol-rich foods with better metabolic markers. The direct effect on granulosa cells specifically comes from laboratory work rather than human trials, so treat this as supportive of the wider pattern. Your action: a handful of berries most days, fresh or frozen. Problem 3. In men, the damage runs through fat tissue. The root here is different, and it matters. Excess body fat increases the activity of an enzyme called aromatase, which converts testosterone into estrogen. Less testosterone is available to support the Sertoli cells that nurse developing sperm cells. At the same time, insulin resistance is associated with higher oxidative stress. Sperm cells are unusually vulnerable to that kind of damage because they carry little of the internal antioxidant machinery other cells rely on. Research consistently associates insulin resistance and metabolic syndrome in men with poorer sperm cell parameters. The healing food. Leafy greens. Leafy greens are high in fiber and magnesium, and diets richer in them are associated with better insulin sensitivity, which supports the hormonal environment Leydig cells and Sertoli cells work in. This is population-level evidence about dietary patterns rather than a trial of leafy greens for sperm cell quality. The honest framing is that improving insulin sensitivity supports the whole chain, and leafy greens are one reliable way to do that. Your action: a serving of leafy greens most days. The protocol: 3 foods, 3 signals, 1 steadier insulin environment. Cinnamon, studied for its potential to support the insulin signal reaching theca cells, where excess insulin drives androgen production higher. Berries, supports a steadier glucose response and supplies polyphenols studied for the oxidative pressure granulosa cells are under. Leafy greens, supports the insulin sensitivity that Leydig cells and Sertoli cells depend on. What to eliminate, or at least reduce. Sugar-sweetened drinks. Liquid sugar reaches the bloodstream faster than almost anything else, driving the insulin spikes that theca cells respond to. This is the single highest yield change on this list for most people. Refined carbohydrates. The same insulin instruction, arriving through white bread, pastries, and similar foods. Different name, same signal reaching the same cells. Long sedentary stretches, not a food. Muscle cells take up glucose during movement without needing much insulin at all. So sitting for hours removes one of the most effective tools you have for lowering the insulin load on the whole reproductive chain. CellFresco bonus: 1 extracellular signal. Today the bonus is walking after meals. The window after eating is when blood glucose rises and insulin responds. Movement during that window means muscle cells pull glucose out of the bloodstream directly, reducing how much insulin is needed. Controlled research supports short post-meal walks for lowering the glucose response, and the effect is meaningful even at 10 to 15 minutes. It is the same signal this whole episode has followed, approached from the other direction. The closing. Sperm cells being built, egg cells being prepared, and the chain of instructions that controls both. Insulin reaches all of it: the hypothalamus neurons that start the signal, the theca cells and granulosa cells, the Leydig cells and Sertoli cells, which is why a result that was described to you as slightly high is worth more attention than it usually gets. Cinnamon is not simply a spice. It is one way to support the insulin signal theca cells respond to, studied for exactly that. Berries are not simply fruit. They may help support the environment granulosa cells build around a maturing egg cell. Insulin resistance and metabolic conditions deserve proper medical management. Nothing in this episode replaces that. Persistent difficulty conceiving deserves assessment for both partners. But this is one signal, reaching one chain, and it responds to conditions you can influence. Food is a language. Every meal is a message. Every cell is listening. Every bite is a conversation with your cells. Every habit sends another cellular signal. Every day is another opportunity to change the conversation. Every cell has a healing food. If this episode connected something for you, subscribe to CellFresco. Next time on CellFresco. There is a factor affecting sperm cell production that has nothing to do with food at all. It is physical. It is common. And almost nobody is told about it. Keep healing. Keep thriving.